Thank you, Mr. Chair. You are now live.
Well, thank you, and welcome to the Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council meeting for Thursday, June 24th, 2021. Welcome everyone for tonight's meeting. Before we get underway, let's do a roll call of who's present. So here I am, Councillor for District 2, Preston David Hensby, Preston Chesapeake Eastern Shore. So let's go to District 3 now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here for District 3, Dartmouth South Eastern Passage, beautiful District 3.
District 4.
Hello, Mr. Chair and everyone, and here present for District 4 and displaying our new splash pad that's being installed in District 4 there behind me. We're very excited.
Is the water running yet?
No, it's a bit delayed.
Well, let's hope it
here soon.
Let's hope it gets done before the hot days of summer are over.
Yes, here's to hoping.
Next district, District 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here and ready to go.
And I believe we have regrets from District 6. So Tony Mancini sends his regards and regrets. So who do we have for staff? Have we have the clerk identify himself, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Simon Rossigal, Legislative Assistant. I will be clerking this evening.
Thank you very much. And who do we have for staff? Let's hear from our solicitor, please.
Josh Judah here tonight.
How you doing, sir? Our planner, Mr. Purvis, you present?
I am, sir. Good evening, Council. Carl Purvis.
Thank you, sir. Jacqueline with us tonight?
I'll be speaking on behalf of Jacqueline for any issues
Okay.
for her, sir.
All right. We have Dean McDougall.
Here, present. Thank you.
Thank you. Daryl Chaudhry.
Present.
All right. Do we have Jennifer with us tonight, or we have a reasonable substitute?
I will be the substitute for her as well, sir.
All right. And we have Elisa Lovis Woods. That are she must be our interpreter, is she?
Hi, Mr. Chair. I'm Andrea Lavasti Wood, and I work with the clerk's office, and I'm providing production support for Simon this evening.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Is that everybody we have on the production team tonight? Okay. That's great. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes of our special meeting June 3rd. We have a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Kent, seconded by
Second.
Councillor Purdy. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next order of business, the approval of the order of business or approval of additions or deletions. Do we have any additions or deletions, Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've received no requests for additions or deletions as of this time for the meeting.
Okay, I see Councillor Austin has a hand up. Councillor Austin, sir. Oh, okay, that must be my cursor. That's my cursor. That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so I have an order, approval order of business. Councillor Austin will approve the order.
I will put my hand up to do that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Kent, all those in favor of the approval of the order of business?
Aye.
All in favor? Great. Anyone opposed? Guess not. Motion carried. No business arising from the minutes. Are there any declaration of conflict tonight from anyone? Hearing none. Great. Okay, no motions of reconsideration, no revisions, no deferred matters or business, no notice of table matters. Hearings, we have none. Correspondence, Mr. Clerk, what do we have for correspondence tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's no correspondence before Harbour East for this meeting other than the correspondence relating to the request to present.
Okay. Do we have any petitions from any members of council? Hearing none, great. Any presentations? We have a presentation on the agenda tonight. We have the Urban Development Institute from a person that some of us are no strangers to. Welcome Mr. Stephen Adams, who's Executive Director of the Urban Development Institute of Nova Scotia. Stephen Adams, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. First of all, thank you so much for entertaining our request this evening. This will be a very short presentation, 7 slides. 3 or 4 minutes is all it will take, and just to give you an idea of UDI and what we can do. Next slide, please, Simon.
I'm sorry, we may be having difficulty advancing the slides. I'm just reaching out to my co-producer, and we'll see if we can sort that out.
Okay. Not the start we were looking for, but that's okay.
You know, development's never easy, right, Stevie?
What's that, David?
We always know that development's never easy thing.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I believe we're doing good now.
Beautiful, thank you. So I'm the executive director. My name's Stephen Adams, and on the other side of the screen right is Rob Norwood, and Rob Norwood is our member services coordinator. Next slide, please.
We see your mission. Yeah.
It'll take a minute for that to populate, but if you look at the nice picture of downtown Dartmouth and Aldering Landing and the ferry terminal and all that. Seems to be a little, there we go. So our mandate is to work with the government, and generally it's HRM, to ensure the policies that affect development are fair, consistent, and responsible. And the fiscal part is important because that helps us and our members and other developers and builders deliver high quality, affordable development for our residents. Next slide, please. So the Urban Development Institute, we're a national network. So there are groups right from Vancouver to Halifax. I've been in touch with a number of them. Some of them are much bigger than we are, with $3 million budgets. And UDI, we are recognized as the largest voice of the land development industry in the province. You see here the different members, and HRM is a member of UDI. But of course, being a development group, there are developers, builders, and really anybody associated with development in HRM and throughout the province. Next slide, please. So some HRM-wide issues that we comment on and discuss and offer insight and help. Affordable housing, which is top of line now, as you all know. The noise bylaw, which is coming up, capital cost contributions, accessibility, and that means with respect to apartment buildings and new construction, permitting, and CMPs. And I'm going to touch on the CMPs just for a moment. There had been some issues over the past little while, or probably last 3 to 6 months, of some builders or developers that were not following the construction management plans. So me, along with the Construction Association and home builders and road builders, spoke with mostly Peter Duncan and said, how can we help? So we came up with a letter which Peter agreed to. He thought it was well done. And we sent that to our members to let them know that, you know, the CMP is a signed document and you need to respect that. Some of the area-specific issues are the Cogswell lands and the center plan review and implementation, which we're in the process of doing. Next slide, please. So we're looking at see how UDI can help council and staff, and ultimately the residents that we all serve. We offer insight from industry perspective. We offer solutions. We're not simply going to complain or criticize, but offer solutions as well. And we're always accessible to help address those concerns. Most have my email address and my number. This presentation, I believe, has been shared with you, and my contact information, along with Rob Norwood's contact information, is available. And last slide, please. And in closing, again, there's some more contact information, but UDI, we appreciate your hard work, and we know how hard that you work to serve your residents. I can tell you and assure you that your efforts do not go unnoticed. And that's it. And thank you.
Well, thank you there, Mr. Adams. It's hard to call you Mr., and I've been calling you a counselor for so many years. It's a different shoe on the foot now. Anyway, thank you very much for your presentation. I see that Councillor Kent has a question for you.
Yeah, actually, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good to see you, Stephen. So I actually have two questions. Can you elaborate on what your involvement would be on noise bylaws from a resident and councillor perspective? Often the concerns that come to us are noise of construction during the construction phases, and the I don't know, like the noise bylaw policing of that is difficult. So the other question is your offer to help. So do you have to already have a connection to a specific developer or project already under your mandate or under your relationships or membership to assist on issues related to construction projects? Or could we potentially bring something to you that you could help to facilitate some resolution?
Okay, we'll go with that one first, Councillor. And David, thanks for calling me Mr. because there's so many other words you could have used. So I'll run with that. I will take it, believe me. So, you know, UDI has a number of different members that offer a myriad of expertise and a lot of expertise. If you're looking for something specific, you can give me a holler and we can find someone to help you, regardless of what it is. You know, as long as it's development related, of course. With regard to the noise bylaw, there is a request to have the noise bylaw changed, and that is to make the hours shorter. And I can tell you that the last 5 times this came, and it's 5 times came to council, it didn't get approved because it would cost more money for the builder. It would lengthen out the time of the project because if you're taking time away at one end or the other, then you have to add it onto the other end. We fully support the enforcement of the noise bylaw. It's right now, I think, from regular weekdays 7 till 9:30, so 7 in the morning till 9:30 at night. We fully support that. And I can assure you that if there are concerns from the noise bylaw perspective, or again, the construction management plan perspective, give me a call. And we will have either me, or if it's one of the home builders from the Home Builders Association, or whatever it is, I can find somebody who will relay that. Because, you know, 7 in the morning, bylaw staff isn't working, and likely not at 9:30 at night, and it would be a police issue, and it's just not the available personnel to deal with those. So we can help. We can help with that.
Is that it, Councillor Kent? Any other questions for Mr. Adams? I have one quick question, Mr. Adams, in regards to the discussion about density bonuses and opportunities for affordable housing. How do you find that the industry is going to participate in providing those goals and objectives to be achieved?
So UDI is working with, many of our members are working with CMHC through Jill Snow, who's the outreach worker, and she's in Newfoundland. In another role during Chebucto or Halifax and West Community Council, we had a 46-unit project approved under the CMHC programming, and there are more coming. I did send that email out. I hope everyone got it, and David, you and I had spoken about that. But our members are, they want to help provide affordable housing. I'll give you an example. A fellow that I work with, he could get full price for all of his units. And I asked him, and I knew the answer, but I just wanted to hear him. I said, why would you provide the affordable housing? What motivates you to do that? He says, well, I have a home and some people don't. And that was the answer. And that just tells you a lot about the integrity of this gentleman.
And one last question, if I may, and in regards to the Urban Development Institute, what can you do for rural Halifax? Your name is urban, but what can you do for rural Halifax?
And that's a good point. So the Urban Development Institute of Nova Scotia, we deal with development across the province. So, and I believe the reason why it's urban development, because it's all major centers across the country. But ours is an anomaly, and that's UDI of NS. So we've expanded beyond the borders of HRM. So that would include, outside HRM, but also the rural areas which you represent, and some of the many other members of council, and I was in that role as well. So if there's something that we can do to help, by all means. And again, we're really excited about the options and opportunities available through for the affordable housing implementation and opportunities.
Well, thank you very much, sir. That's all the questions I have. Are there any further questions from any members of the community council? Hearing none, Mr. Adams, I'd like to thank you for your time and endeavors, and also want to thank you for your service all these many years on municipal council. It's been quite a while that you and I have been colleagues, and now we are still working for the community to better everyone's livelihood. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And it's been said that I'm on a different side now, but we're all on the same side. It's just a different perspective. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you if the opportunity arises. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Steve.
Thank you, sir. The next order of business I have on the agenda is the no information reports brought forward, so we'll go to reports now. We have the staff report 13.1.1, case number 23221, land use bylaw amendments for Eastern Shore Lifestyle Center, 22-324, highway number 7 in Sheet Harbor. Can I have a motion to put this forward, please? For first reading, Councillor Kent, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council give first reading to consider approval of the proposed amendments to the land use bylaw for Eastern Shore East Plan Area as set out in Attachment A of the April 28th, 2021 report to 1, enable the development of a new municipal community facility, the Eastern Shore Lifestyle Center, within the RPK Regional Park Zone, and 2, correct references to the former P4 Provincial Park Zone and schedule a public hearing. So moved.
Thank you. Is there a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councillor Purdy, thank you very much. Are there any debates or questions on the motion? Hearing none, thank you very much. We'll move this forward for first reading for the next council meeting. So all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, anyone opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you very much. Item number 13.1.2, case number 22487, development agreement for 112 and 114 Wise Road in Dartmouth. Councillor Austin, you'd like to move us forward on this, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council give notice of motion to consider the proposed development agreement as set on Attachment A of the May 18th, 2021 report to enable a 20-story mixed-use multi-unit building at the corner of Wise Road and Nantucket Avenue in Dartmouth and schedule a public hearing.
Have a seconder, please.
I'll second.
Councillor Kent, thank you. Any debate or comment on the motion? Councillor Austin.
Just one question for the clerk. There's potentially at least 2, potentially 3 public hearings here, all in District 5 on the agenda here. I'm just curious as to timing of all of this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to Community Council. We will, I think, discuss with staff how we would like to plan and coordinate the upcoming public hearings for any items of the past night. We do recognize there are a couple of them coming, and we can certainly reach out to the area councillor if that's requested.
I'd just like to be kept in the loop on the scheduling of them, since normally they'd appear in the next month, but with a bundle of them, I don't know whether we'll want to do that or whether we'll spread them out.
Is there a time sensitivity to any particular one that we should be aware of?
Well, ask any of the developer for any of them. They'll tell you mine is super time sensitive, but no, Mr. Chair, I'm not aware of any specific time sensitivity for any of them.
Well, I would suggest whoever's been in the queue the longest gets served first. Okay. Mr. Purvis, any comment on that?
Yes, Mr. Chair. In the case of, let's see here, get the items right. In the case of items 13.1.2, 13.1.3, and 13.1.4, there is a little bit of a time sensitivity where they're using policy that's no longer in existence. The center plan allows us to point back to the previous policy, but they allowed us 2 years to finish. And that 2 years will expire, I believe it's September 17th, 2021. So the time sensitivity would be only limited to, we need to have those 3 hearings in advance of that date.
Thank you very much for that clarification. I'm sure we'll act accordingly, and I'm sure members of community council will be available to make this possible. Thank you. All right, any further comment or question? Have we called for the question on the motion?
Question?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, item number 13.1.4, case number 21584.
You mean point 3, Mr. Chair, Maple Street first.
Wait, no. Okay, sorry. Scroll down too fast. Thank you. 1.3, case number 22491, development agreement for 46 Maple Street in Dartmouth. Councillor Austin, I assume this is your territory?
It is, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council give notice of motion to consider the proposed development agreement as set out in attachment A of the June 8th, 2021 report to develop a 20-unit stacked townhouse development on lands at 46 Maple Street and schedule a public hearing.
Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Purdy?
Sure.
Second that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Any comment or question on the motion?
Not on this one, Mr. Chair. We're just scheduling a public hearing.
Thank you very much, sir. Therefore, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Item 13.1.4 now, we have, let's see what, get my agenda here. Case number 21584, development agreement for the lands of 18 Rosedale Drive and Floral Avenue, Dartmouth. I think that Councillor Austin, it's your matter.
Yes, it's the three-peat District 5 evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I believe this motion is already on the floor from our previous meeting because it was a deferral.
Okay, and
If I could just confirm that.
do we have that confirmation from the clerk's office, please, or do we need to reread it for the record? Just clarify that, or should our judicial counsel tell us
I believe
otherwise?
this report is a supplemental report, so where that is the case, I think just for confirmation, we should read the motion again and just put it on the floor again, and then proceed from there.
Okay.
I believe that, guys. Thank you.
So I'll put the motion on the floor then. I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council refuse the proposed development agreement enabling the development of a mixed-use building with 9 and 11-story towers on a shared podium as set out in attachment A of the staff report dated August 5th, 2020.
Is there a second? Second, Councillor Kent. Any debate on the motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. And so I thank staff for spending the time to go back and prepare a supplemental report on this one. I'm wondering if staff can briefly comment. It seems from my read of the report, we had one relatively minor change where the applicant has added a little addition on the Floral Avenue side to better transition to the lower buildings around, but staff would still be of the opinion that this is fails the test of consistency, and that's what they're recommending against.
So we have staff to make clarification on the report and additional information, please, from the supplementary from the original report.
Hello, excuse me, Daryl Jodry here.
Go ahead, sir. Mr. Jodry, I want to clarify some of the additional information that Councillor Austin was asking about from the supplementary report from the original report in regards to the possible changes on the Floral Avenue area.
Did we lose Daryl?
Daryl, you still with us? I see his microphone's muted. There he is. So is that muted now?
I hope I'm unmuted now.
Yes, sir, DJ.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Staff did ask the applicant to look at their application and make revisions in response to the comments that were part of the November 2020 staff report and presentation at Harbour East Marine Drive. And they made a change on the Floral Avenue facade and provided a street wall to better transition to the existing dwellings on Floral, and in an attempt to lower the overall height and to speak to the mass of that section of the proposal.
Thank you. So Councillor Austin, can I ask in regards to the asking us to refuse this application, is there an alternative you wish to move forward instead as an alternative for the community to consider?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I mean, where I'm at on this one is, you know, the proposal, I think, has some merits to it, right? You know, it is the thing that it is kind of the poster child for some of the debate we were having when we were working on the center plan of like, well, do you want to allow for more flexibility so that people could potentially leave more of a site open or lower in exchange for putting the density into towers, or do you want to have a mid-rise form? And so this site, you know, that consistent piece and what's in the center plan, whether it's the old rules or the new rules, drives towards covering more of the property than what this proposal that's before us would allow, whereas the applicants instead are leaving a little bit more open space and putting more of the density into towers. So where I'm at on it is I'm not sure at this point, you know, where I want to go. But what I would like to know is what the read of the community is on this, whether they feel that what's in front of them is consistent or not. Part of why I wanted to get the information as to, well, what the as of right options would look like under the center plan was because sometimes with community discussions it becomes, well, I don't want any development to go next to me, and that's not on the table. Something's going to happen on this site. It's going to be some sort of residential development, so it's more of a question of, well, do you like the idea of lower for most of it except in 2 towers, or do you like the idea of lower for the whole site but closer to you? And so I think that's a useful conversation when it comes to the public hearing, to try and focus on that, on the real relevant discussion, which is, well, what is the best form of development that you see going in terms of what's going to happen in your neighborhood. And so my hope with the supplemental report and what the as of right options could look like under the center plan is we can have that sort of community discussion. So I'd like to, you know, it's kind of interesting that Steve Adams was here tonight, because I'd like to move the Adams gambit and ask council, I put it on the floor and ask council to defeat the main motion, because I'd like to move alternative 2 to schedule a public hearing so that we can hear what the community thinks of the option.
Good, thank you, Councillor Austin. Any questions from Councillor Kent or Purdy on this proposal to move forward and gauge public opinion? Hearing no comment from them, so accept that motion from Councillor Austin to.
No, we have to defeat the first one, Mr. Chair.
All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. So Okay, the first motion is on the floor for,
Question?
so we like to move, those in favor of the motion that's present on the floor, say aye. Those who are against, say nay.
Nay.
Yay.
Motion has carried in the negative, so the motion has been defeated. So Councilor Austin, would like to move another motion forward, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that the Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council, just a second here. Give notice of motion to consider the proposed development agreement as set out in attachment A of the supplemental report and date and schedule a public hearing.
Do I have a seconder, please?
I'll second.
Councilor Purdy seconds the motion. Any further debate on the motion that's before us now?
I think I've already set it out, Mr. Chair. I don't know if ultimately in the end we'll go forward with this one. We'll see what the public has to say, but I really would like to hear what the neighborhood thinks of either option, of either letting this proceed as of right under center plan or letting the current proposal before us go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Before I call for the vote, I see we just lost Councilor Kent for a second. Now she's back again. We just lost connection for Councilor Kent. Want to make sure we have her present for the vote.
Yep, I'm back. I did want to make a comment if I
Certainly.
could.
Go ahead.
Just a quick comment that I appreciate the approach that Councillor Austin is taking on this, because it is often that it, you know, be careful what you wish for without all the information, and the public really, this is a big change for that area, but it's an important, potentially a very, very important one that they really should understand what's at play here. And the councillor, I'm going to follow his lead on this, as it's his district, but it's also, I think, a good measure overall for the municipality to understand that this is an important piece to engage the community once again on this kind of significant big change. So I'm quite happy with this opportunity.
Thank you for that. Any further comment or question on the motion before I call for the question? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the alternative motion put forward, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Thank you. Next item of business now is, does the members of community council have anything to bring forward? I see nothing being proposed. All right, so we have no motions, no on-camera items to be dealt with, no added items. Anyone have notices of motion? Any notices of motions? Seeing none, so we'll go to public participation. Public participation, we have an opportunity to hear from the public. I believe we have Kelly Schneer from the Halifax RAH, Reviving Our Harbors. She'll explain who she's from. Hi, Kelly. Love Your Lakes program. She's initiating the Porter's Lake area. So Kelly, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your support over the past few months. Good evening, nice to meet you, Vice Chair Kent and Purdy, and hello, Sam, Councillor Austin, nice to see you again. My name is Kelly Schneer. I'm Programs Director for Reimagining Atlantic Harbors. You can see us around the harbor on the Sackville Wharf downtown, as well as the Bedford Quay in the Convoy Quay in Bedford. So tonight, I'd like to give you a short introduction to the Love Your Lake program, which we're bringing to Atlantic region for the very first time. So this pilot initiative is a really exciting one, and we'll be giving you a full presentation and update about our summer work in the August meeting for the council. So I'm outgoing chair of the Regional Watershed Advisory Board and extremely passionate about water issues. So Love Your Lakes program is a perfect fit. Love Your Lakes is a shoreline assessment, educational stewardship program that is modified and updated from scientific protocol developed by MAPLE, which is the Mutual Association for the Protection of Lake Environments, developed in the 1980s. So Watersheds Canada and other organizations in Eastern Ontario modified this protocol, and with community feedback over the last 10 years, and partnered in 2012 with Canadian Wildlife Federation. So they've created a project entitled Love Your Lakes. And we're delivering this as a local nonprofit of 3 years to empower community-led impacts of our shared waters. And how are we doing that? In the next slide, please. Lakes participating in this program, like Porter's Lake, have their shorelines assessed by boat on a property by property basis by trained staff using a standardized shoreline assessment protocol and a data sheet. So shoreline property owners will receive information about the program, including an introductory letter and values survey. And so for each property, we'll make observations by using the classification of the shoreline. Is it developed? Is it degraded, manicured, regenerative, natural? Is there development there, such as docks or stairs, decks, boathouses, and retaining walls? Is there terrestrial or aquatic wildlife habitat? Is there a presence or absence of natural shoreline vegetation, as well as the presence of erosion? So following the assessments of the shoreline property owners will receive a letter with a unique survey code that they can order their personalized shoreline report online, or they can order one on paper. So it's going to contain information about the state of their unique shoreline and suggestions of voluntary actions that they can take to improve the health of their shoreline if suggested. So why is this all important? Well, shorelines are one of the most unique and sensitive places on Earth. They warrant special attention due to their ecological, aesthetic, and recreational value. And people's influence can have a huge impact on these delicate interfaces through increasing development pressures, increasing population density, increasing resource use, decreasing wildlife habitat, as well as degrading water quality. So this baseline study of the health of Porter's Lake is important for the future health of the lake. It's important to understand daily actions by all individuals that can help conserve the lakes. And so keeping shorelines healthy and as natural as possible is the easiest way to protect our water quality. This not only helps maintain or improve property values, but provides cleaner, clearer water for wildlife and for recreational activities. And in no way do the suggestions for the property owners imply that action must be taken. However, changes made on individual properties will positively impact the lake. Next slide. Noah Brown is our Love Your Lakes summer field technician, and she's been busy researching Porter's Lake's characteristics. She's been working hard to map Porter's Lake shoreline parcels for the delivery of mailouts to shoreline property owners and in preparation for the field assessment days, as well as doing statistical analysis of land cover use in the area. So according to the data from the Department of Land and Forestry, the riparian zone is almost 50% urban or developed and 35% natural, with the rest being roads, wetlands, or other features. Next slide. So our Love Your Lakes team has been getting to know the awesome Porter Lake community through hand delivering shoreline homeowner surveys. There's a link at loveyourlake.ca/survey. And we haven't made it to all the houses yet, but we're putting up posters and we're starting our field work with volunteer boat drivers. So we've been able to hear some awesome stories and insights about what community members value about their lakes. For example, this gentleman has been on Porter's Lake for over 70 years. He's played at dances at Lordstown Hall. He raised his family there and they love the water. So it's really demonstrating value and uniqueness and beneficial use of that water body specifically. So
30 seconds remain.
Yeah, next slide. If you would like to share what you love about Porter's Lake, you can email us. And if you'd like to see this program in one of the many lakes in the city of lakes, please get in touch. You can retweet, you can share, you can support through your networks this pilot program, which has a lot of potential to impact our lakes in a very positive way. Thanks, guys. Welcome any questions if that's in order. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly. Very appreciative. I'm hoping the clerk will be able to give me a clip of tonight's meeting so I can post on the local social media pages of that presentation. I've also included this in my July newsletter as a part of the information of the community. And I've had some people call me and email me already about it on both sides of the equation and what's this all about. And some people are very supportive and happy to see this. And some people are a little concerned, is this prying into private property matters, but we all know the lake is not private property, it's public property. And we got to look up for the better welfare and the health of the lake itself. Any questions from members of council? Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm kind of like gobsmacked here. I'm like, wow, what a great program. How the devil did you get involved in this, David? Like, I'm so excited at the thoughts of, so my question is, first of all, I'm going to ask the question and then I'm actually going to speak to it, which is, how do you get on the list? I have lakes in District 3 that I think this is amazing for a number of reasons. The obvious that I feel like I have to state is that we are stewards of our own communities, and we are asking more than ever for our residents, our communities, to stay in their own in their own communities and enjoy what is in their backyard. And with that comes a responsibility. We're constantly being pushed to facilitate some kind of change around people who have residential properties and are encroaching on new non-disturbance areas and building boat launches and all of those things. And it is a highly contentious split decision on whether or not you should be allowing it or not. Obviously, the use of the lakes has an impact on the community. Just the use of the boat launch beyond the use of the effluent that would come out of the boat and potential impact on wildlife. The people who are actually at the boat launch have the potential to impact just that particular area on habitat for turtles and for ducks. And then there's the whole piece around people coming and thinking, this is such a wonderful park, it's a beautiful lake, I want to bring some bread down for the ducks, which is problematic, which Sam was instrumental in sort of creating some pieces. So there are so many contributing factors to lake health and or shoreline health that this, to me, is a wonderful way to bring people together, whether it is for them working together, feeling like they're part of something they can actually do when they work together and collaborate, that will make a difference. Education is a powerful tool. If you just educate and then that trickles down into another generation that's within that house, you are effectively making that change. So like, I'm very excited about it. Can you tell? Nurturing the environment, the stewardship of the environment, to me, this is a great program. So back to my question. So how is this funded? And this is the pilot. What is your next steps for bringing this further along? And how do I get on the list?
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for your support and call to all stewards and community participants to have an impact. And that multi-generational lens is also a really strong one that we hold forward with Raw 2050's mandate. We have received seed funding and a service contract to provide technological support as well as logistical support to the staff. We hired through two funds. One was Canada Summer Jobs, and the other was the Eco Action or Eco Canada grants. They're both priority sectors, so hiring young leaders in the community is really not difficult. And so the seed funding from Love Your Lakes partnership is dependent on surveying an appropriate number of houses. So we're given a goalpost and we're achieving that. So 900 parcels on Porter's Lake can be achieved, I think, with 20 lake days. And that relies on community participation from community stewards and boat owners, as well as boat clubs lending their boats. From our news article that was gratefully shared in the Provincial Chronicle last week, we 3 lake associations reached out to us, and so this new partnership concept is coming to fruition. So we work with lake associations, and they bring us a lot of the ground truthing and research, and then we add to that through GIS components and lake ecosystem assessment. So it's not specifically parcels of property owners that we're addressing. We're talking about the whole lake as an entity, and then the Love Your Lakes program comes back in 5 years later and does a follow-up assessment. And there's also natural edge grants that are provided to lake associations to do some natural planning around the like public dock areas like you spoke about, and being able to build that resilience in. So how do you get on the list? Let us know about your lakes and if there's stewards existing or not, and then we can work with that timeline and hopefully be in your district this summer.
Oh, even better. I will connect you. I look forward to it. I'm going to reach out to you right away.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. But I personally believe in this particular issue, size matters. And when it comes to Porter's Lake and Lake Charlotte, the largest lakes in the municipality, a single lake, I should say, not a chain of lakes like Dartmouth may have, but Porter's Lake and Lake Charlotte are the two largest lake bodies we have in the municipality, and they're unique in their particular offerings to the community. Porter's Lake being a tidal action with brackish water, with access to the ocean, with tidal water coming in and out, it has a unique ecosystem in itself. One particular part of the lake where you have that brackish environment, as you go further north in the lake, it's more fresh water. We have a unique blend of species, from lobsters to striped bass and everything in between. It's incredible that we have that in the lake. And I think this survey is going to be very helpful in regards to preserving and protecting some of the environments around the lake to make sure we keep that as pristine as possible. And like I said, get in line. Thank you very much, Kelly. Is there any further comment you'd like to wish to members of council? I know that Councillor Austin has his lake issues in regards to Lake Banook and Lake Micmac and stuff. We have erosion issues, vegetation management issues. Just recently, the blue-green algae pop issue up in Grand Lake. These are issues that are very important to our municipalities and residents around the lakes who use the lakes. So I think a study like this is going to be very helpful to help monitor the health quality. And I'm hoping that with your endeavors here, we work with our regional watershed advisory board and perhaps advancing this program year after year after year and doing a lake assessment, as you're particularly doing for Porter's Lake. Perhaps this should be done for a number of our recreational lakes that are heavily used by recreational purposes, because it's got to be respected in regards to, you live on a lake, but you have obligations to the lake. You shouldn't indiscriminately infill. You should not indiscriminately landscape to the edges. How you use the lake should be very cognizant of your boat and the uses of fuel around the lake in regards to fertilizers and gardens and stuff like that. It's so important that we need to respect the environment in regards to what we do on our property will affect what we do in our watershed areas and the lakes in particular. So thank you very much for your endeavors. And any further questions or comments or councillors? I see Councillor Kensel has a hand up, or is that from behind? Oh, Councillor Austin, I see your hand up now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Kelly for the presentation and the work. It is something, I just think I automatically went to Banook and Micmac, just since they are lakes that face issues. And one of the challenges for a municipality is, how do you marshal the community piece? It's all well and good to do, your own policy, to tend to your own property, to do the important work around roads and stormwater infrastructure and all that sort of stuff. But there is still that task of marshaling the private property owners. And, when you think about Banook, all those homes along, Brookdale and Lakeside, Lakeview Point, they all pretty much have grass running right down to the shoreline. And so how do you start to have conversations with people about that? Having a third party community group with volunteers could be a good way to facilitate some of that discussion, because it's an area that's going to be a touchy subject, because it touches on people's lives, and you have to get past that initial reaction of, well, who are you to tell me what you're doing, what I should do? I'm not doing anything wrong, right? You've got there's a bit of psychology and everything to work with this. So I appreciate it. And I too plan to talk to my counterpart in Lake Micmac and get in touch with Kelly.
Thanks, Sam. Just as a comment, the community engagement piece is very well organized in its opportunities to reach and to connect with the community and to empower existing organizational voices and engagement opportunities. So it's a big win for that. I'd like to say too that the privilege of homeownership, especially on a lake, is one that shouldn't be taken lightly. And it's a voluntary, non-regulatory, non-government program that doesn't hold anything to account, but the process that we're engaging is one from love, compassion, community, and support for the undeniable recognition that we're there because we love that space, that Blue Commons. And it's a really valuable, it resonates really well because there's a bumper sticker there, and the program is, yeah, I love my lake too. Yeah. Everybody, I'm happy to share some bumper stickers with anybody who'd like them.
I want one. I just sent you an email.
I'm pretty sure you could distribute them at the Porter's Lake Shopping Center. There'd be a hot ticket item. Anyway, are there any further comments or questions? Hearing none, thank you very much, Kelly, for your presentation tonight, and good luck with your endeavors over the summer. We're looking forward to the progress reports later on.
Excited to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, I see nothing else on the agenda except for our next meeting is scheduled for August the 5th to 21. So may I take a motion for adjournment? Councillor Purdy, please. So moved by Councillor Purdy for adjournment.
Oh, yes, thank you. Sorry, finding my mute button.
No problem at all. Is there any further business? I'm hearing none for the motion for adjournment. All in order. Let's say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Thank you for everyone for participating. Have a good night.
Thank
You too.
you.
Thanks, Mr.
And
Chair.
before we go,
Mr. Chair.
happy graduation to all the students. This is graduation week. Graduation is going to be so important, but the problem is COVID is not the normal ceremonies that we normally attend year after year. This is a unique situation again for the second year in a row. Congratulations, those students have endeavored to get through this pandemic, and best wishes for your future endeavors.
Mr. Chair, just before we go, I note that on the agenda, it says that the date of our next meeting is in August.
Yes.
If we're doing public hearings, we would be far better to schedule a meeting in July than to be doing public hearings in August. That's always an ugly time. So I'll just make the suggestion to folks that we should, I think we should be looking at scheduling a July meeting and instead of trying to do public hearings that must be done by September and August.
Okay, I agree with that, and we'll check with the clerk's office in regards to our obligations for advertising and promotion, make sure we meet those deadlines as legislative required to. So we'll make sure we'll do that. And I'm pretty sure members of community council will make themselves available for additional meetings, whatever necessary.
Thank you.
Councillor Kent. Councillor Kent. Okay, Councillor Purdy.
Sounds good to me. Yes.
Well, take this opportunity to wish all your graduates in your districts congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, grads. You did it. Onwards and upwards.
The class of 2021. What a unique situation.
Yeah.
All the best in the
Be
future.
stronger because of it.
Yes.
And
All
more
right.
resilient. Yeah.
All right. Let's say good night, folks. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night.